Distillation is a method used to separate components of a liquid mixture based on the differences in their boiling points. Sublimation is a process where solid state is converted directly to the gaseous state without entering into the liquid state upon heating. When heat is supplied to this compound, the compounds get vaporized and then they are collected in the surface of the funnel. Hello dear students, I am Roja, your chemistry lecturer from Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Today we are going to continue the chapter Organic Chemistry, some basic principles and techniques. So in the previous session, you have studied about fundamental concepts in organic reaction mechanism. So in this session, we shall study about methods of purification of organic compounds. So after an organic compound is isolated or synthesized, it may contain impurities. To obtain pure compounds, there are certain methods to purify such things based on the nature of the compound as well as impurities present in it. So there are 5 purification methods. One is sublimation, the other one is crystallization, distillation, differential extraction, and then chromatography. So let us understand one by one like how these methods are used to purify the compounds from impurities. So first thing is sublimation. Sublimation is a process where solid state is converted directly to the gaseous state without entering into the liquid state upon heating. So that process is called sublimation. And in this, using this technique, using this process, the compounds which are sublimable upon heating are separated from their impurities. Then how it works is that, so this is the experimental setup where organic compound is taken in a china dish. This has been covered up with the inverted funnel and the tip of the inverted funnel is being blocked by the cotton plug. Now here the mixture that is taken here is ammonium chloride. It could be a camphor, it could be naphthalene, anything that is sublimable upon heating. So heat is subjected to the compound. When heat is supplied to this compound, the compounds get vaporized and then they are collected in the surface of the funnel. After some time, that could be scraped out. So that is how compounds are purified from their impurities. So that is how ammonium chloride could be separated from their impurities. So this is one of the techniques used. The other technique is crystallization. So crystallization is one of the most common effective methods used to purify solid organic compounds, especially when they are contaminated with the non-volatile impurities. They are non-volatile impurities. That means they are not going to evaporate. So principle that is based on the crystallization is, it works on the basis of difference in solubilities between the compound that is to be purified and the impurities that is present in a suitable solvent. So how does it work? We'll see now. So first thing is, choose a suitable solvent where the compound should be sparingly soluble at room temperature, and then there should be highly soluble in the solvent at higher temperatures. And the other thing is, impurities should remain soluble or insoluble at all temperatures. So for such compounds, you will have to carry the technique called crystallization. Second thing is, dissolve the impure compounds. How to dissolve is that, heat the solvent and dissolve the impure compound in it, and then you have to prepare a saturated solution. Then the next step is, remove the colored impurities if any present. You have to add activated charcoal so that colors could absorb on the activated charcoal. You will have to filter this hot solution to remove the charcoal and the insoluble matter. Then after these things are carried out, so next step is cool the solution slowly at room temperature. On cooling, the compounds will crystallize and then leaving behind the impurities in the solvent. That solvent is called mother liquor. Take that solution, filter and collect the crystals. Like you have to go through the filtration process so that crystals are separated and the mother liquor is going to be separated. And then repeat this process if it is necessary by dissolving it in the solvent so that you get more of a pure compound. Then this is how method is used to purify the organic compound. The other technique is distillation process. Distillation is a method used to separate components of a liquid mixture based on the differences in their boiling points. So, two liquid mixtures which are having a boiling point larger than 25 degrees Celsius, for such type of mixtures, we will have to use distillation process. So, it is used to separate volatile liquid from a non-volatile impurities, and the other one is to separate two or more liquids with different boiling points. As I told before, the boiling points of liquid mixture should be more than 25 degrees Celsius. So, the principle used here is each liquid has its own boiling point, and the liquid which is having less boiling point will vaporize first, and the liquid which is having high boiling point will vaporize later, and these vapors are collected separately, then cooled and collected it in a separate different containers. Example can be given here is chloroform and aniline mixture. The chloroform has a boiling point of 334 Kelvin and the aniline has a boiling point of 457 Kelvin. So, this type of mixtures can be separated using distillation process. So, let us understand how does it work. So, this is the experimental setup where this is called a round bottom flask which consists of a mixture, a liquid mixture. Then this has a connection with thermometer so that we can have a check on their boiling points. This has been connected to the condenser unit. There are two outlets, one is to sink and the other one is to let the water out. Then this tube is been connected again to the conical flask because to collect the vapors. Now how does it work is, the mixture is to be placed in the round bottom flask and the heat is supplied to the mixture. So, as soon as the liquid reaches their boiling point, the vapors of the such liquids are being passed on to this condenser unit. So, what does this condenser unit do is, when the water is being circulated here in the condenser unit, the vapors will be cooled down and converted to liquid. So, this liquid form is being collected in the flask, and that is how liquids, when they attain their boiling points, they get vaporizes and that can be collected in a different conical flasks. So, this type of method is called as distillation process. Next type of technique is fractional distillation. Fractional distillation is a part of distillation. It is used for components where the difference in boiling point of liquid mixture should be less than 25 degree to 30 degree Celsius, and simple distillation cannot be efficiently used to separate such type of mixture where the boiling points are lesser than 25 to 30 degree Celsius. So, let us see how does it work. So, experimental setup goes like this, but one difference is here to the round bottom flask there is a fractionating column where it consists of a glass beads. When two or more liquids are there in the compound, those plates will get settled in the plates. So, then later it gets condensed and then that can be collected one by one. So, here also the same procedure will be carried. So, liquid mixture is being taken in the round bottom flask, heat is subjected to it, then vapors of the least boiling point will vaporize first and then get settled at the top. Vapors of the liquid which is having high boiling point will get settled at the bottom, and the density of vapors of liquid which is having less boiling point will be concentrated on the top. So, that gets vaporized first and condenses first, and then that can be collected in a liquid form. So, one by one these type of liquid mixtures can be collected one after the other depending on their boiling points. So, that is the difference between simple distillation and fractional distillation. So, here each cycle of condensation and vaporization that takes place is called as theoretical plate, and each cycle of condensation and vaporization that takes place here simultaneously is called as theoretical plate. There are commercial columns that can be used which has hundreds of such plates in it. For a commercial purpose it is. Examples used in the industrial use is, this is used in the petroleum industries to separate the components of crude oil, like it could be petrol, diesel, kerosene or gasoline. For that reason this method is better and effective one. The other type of technique is distillation under reduced pressure. It is also known as vacuum distillation. So when it is used for liquids that have very high boiling point and that can decompose at or below their boiling points. So the experimental setup is as such, and there are slight difference between normal distillation and the vacuum distillation. Here the round bottom flask has got a capillary tube which has a stop clock to regulate the air pressure. Then that is being connected to the thermometer to check their boiling points. Then again it is being connected to the condenser unit. Then after condenser unit, it is given a connection to the other round bottom flask to collect the liquids, to collect the desired components. This is being connected to the vacuum pump which has a measuring unit, manometer, to reduce the pressure of the organic liquid. So this is how the experimental setup goes like. Let us see how does it go about. The pressure on the liquid should be reduced using water pump or vacuum pump so that the boiling points gets reduced. Then liquid can be distilled without decomposing. So why it works is, a liquid when it boils, its vapor pressure will be equal to external pressure, and therefore reducing the external pressure of the liquid, it allows the boiling at a lower temperature without decomposing. So example, glycerol is purified from the spent lye that is used in the soap industries. So the other technique is steam distillation. Steam distillation is a technique used to purify or separate steam volatile compounds and water insoluble organic compounds. So the basic principle used here is, a liquid boils when its total vapor pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure. Then in steam distillation, atmospheric pressure is equal to vapor pressure of the organic compound plus vapor pressure of the water. So that is P equals P1 plus P2. P represents atmospheric pressure, P1 represents vapor pressure of the organic compound, P2 represents vapor pressure of water. Since each component contributes to the total pressure of the component, the mixture boils at a temperature lower than the normal boiling point of the organic compound. Okay, let us study how does it work. So the experimental setup again for the distillation process is as such, but here the difference is there are two round bottom flasks that is connected to each other. Then the rest others are similar to the distillation process. In the first round bottom flask, it consists of water to collect the steam, and that steam is passed on to the second round bottom flask which consists of an organic liquid. Now there is a mixture of the steam as well as the organic liquid. Then this is also subjected to heat. Then the vapors of both the components will be passed through this condenser. Then it is cooled and collected in a flask. So now the flask consists of distilled water and the liquid mixture. So these are supposed to be immiscible liquids. Immiscible liquids are those liquids which do not combine each other. So such type of liquid mixtures are separated using separatory funnel that you will study later. Example here that could be given is aniline again, because it's a water insoluble and steam volatile liquid, and therefore it is separated from its mixture by this method. So when to use steam distillation is when the compound is able to decompose at high temperature, and the other one is the compound which is able to be volatile in steam and one which is immiscible with the water. So such type of mixtures could be used to separate using this steam distillation process. So far we have studied about methods of purification of organic compounds, which includes sublimation, crystallization and distillation. And in the next session we shall study about differential extraction and chromatography. So thank you.